Alright guys, today we're going to be reviewing Ice Cool 1 and Ice Cool 2. These are two outstanding dexterity games that have come out a long time ago. I've had Ice Cool 1 in my collection for a long time. I just added Ice Cool 2 after hearing about the new racing mode that's in here that you can play with up to 8 players. And I was really excited about being able to expand the game from 2 to 4 players in the first game to now being able to play up to 8 players. And I was really looking forward to combining both of these and seeing what extravagant racing tracks we can actually make with this now. Let's go ahead and dive into this, and let's first start to take a look at combining these and how you can actually play the standard mode and give you guys a rules overview on how this actually plays. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech, going for a recce is the gaming tech, gaming techie is the gaming tech, gaming techie.
Alright guys, so I wanted to give you a quick overview of Ice Cool and the different modes that you can play in this game. This is Ice Cool 2 or 1. You can set them up. This is the standard mode. This is Ice Cool 2 set up with its boxes, but basically Ice Cool 1 is set up the exact same way with its version of the boxes. And you basically set them up and you have the idea of all these penguins on the board. And this is the standard mode. This is what you can play with up to 5 players. Even if you have Ice Cool 1 and 2, they recommend this mode for 2 to 5 players. Each box technically only plays 4, but if you have both boxes, you can play up to 5 people together in this mode. And this is the standard mode. So basically in this mode, what you do is everyone has a set of penguins. You can see here we have 2 players set up. So we have the purple penguin and the green penguin. And basically what you're doing is one person is going to be the catcher for the round, and one person is going to be the runner. So if purple was the runner, they would basically be placing their penguin here in the starting zone, which is the red dot right there. And you basically are trying to collect your fish. You can see the 3 fishes in a different zone for their color. They're trying to race to get their penguin, to get their fish. Once they get their fish, if they get all 3, the round currently ends right there. So, let's say I take my first flick, and I go through the double doors there. Then the other person goes, and they're the catcher. Now, their objective is to catch me. In a 2-player game, it's to catch you twice. In a regular play, when you're playing with 3, 4, 5 players, the catcher has to catch each person once. So if I were to place this here, all you have to do to catch them is basically just hit them. So let's say that was my first turn, which was really bad. That ended there on the wall. That would be the first person's turn, and then the next person, the runner would go again, and they're trying to go through and collect their different fishes in the box. And then it goes back and forth, and basically when a catcher catches a runner, they take their ID card, which just look like this. They just take their ID card and they put it in front of them so they know that they actually caught them. And in a 2-player game, like I said, they would catch them another time. You wouldn't get a second ID card or anything. You would just catch them a second time. Or if the round ends when they collect all their fish, then that works too. Now, as the runner is collecting their fish, every time they collect the fish, they get one of these cards. These cards all have special abilities on, or the 1 and the 2 have special abilities on them. If you have 2 1s, you can always, in front of you, put 2 1s in front of you, and you can actually use that to take another turn immediately when it's your turn. So if you flick once and you discard 2 1s, you immediately can take another turn. Another thing you could do with 2 1s is you can also use it for trying to take certain flicks. So you're basically doing a task, and if you succeed in that task, you can get extra points at the end of the game. One of those is either jumping over an adjacent room. So if you jump over, that's a task that you can do. If you hit a wall and then go into another door, that's another task. So that's what you could do with the 1s. There's also the 2s in the game that you can also do, and that basically just lets you put 2 2s in front of you as well. And basically that means that you can take a fish from another area and move it to a different door. So you can use that to your advantage. For example, if you were the catcher, let's say that I was about to get this fish, you can actually move it on me and move it to a different door, and now I have to go to that door instead. So things like that. So you can move the fish around, and when you're playing with more people, you can move fish around from them so they don't get it because you know that they're right in front of a door. Things like that you can move around. So that's what the 2s do. Now, even though you're using these cards and putting them in front of you, they are going to count at the end for their actual value for your points. Basically, the way that the points work is a catcher gets points for every person's ID that they have, including their own. So they would get that. And then the other person's, however many fish they get the value of the card. That's how many victory points they get. And you total up that point. Everyone gets to be if you're doing a 3, 4, or 5-player game, everyone gets to be the catcher once, and then the game ends and you tally up all your points to see who wins. If you're playing a 2-player game, then basically everyone gets to be the catcher twice. So you're basically playing 4 rounds. Now that is the general overview of the, when you play either Ice Cold 1 or Ice Cold 2, this is what the setup would look like, and that's the game mode that you're basically playing. But what you could also do that comes in with Ice Cold 2, it gives you a manual for it where it basically has Ice Cold 1 and 2 together. It basically gives you different modes that you can actually play, or different map layouts that you can do for the racing mode. So this is the beginner layouts for the racing mode. It tells you the starting racing mode and all these different layouts that you can use to combine basically both boxes together. That's basically what you're doing. You're taking Ice Cold 1 and Ice Cold 2, and you're combining all 8 of these together, which is awesome because all the doors and stuff, they match up because they're made in mirror of each other. So everything links up really easily, and that's basically what you're doing. And then you can play racing mode, and that goes up to 2 to 8 players. Basically, you can either control one, everyone can control 2 penguins on their own, or you can be in pairs of 2 and everyone controls a penguin in your place. So you're basically playing on each other's team, and you're basically racing to get your fish, which is still the same thing, but there's no order. You don't have to get them in any order. So you're basically playing a racing mode where you have a starting line. Everybody starts at a starting line, but you can get the fish in any order you want. If you want to hop over and take that one all the way in the corner, you can go ahead and do it. If you can hop over there and get it, go get it. If you want to get this one over here, that's fine. Or if you want to just go straight ahead and go for the easy one, that's also fine. You can do them in any order you want. Once you're done collecting all your fish, then you have to race back and race to the finish line, which will be clearly marked on one of the boards, on one of the layouts. So you can see here, for example, again, if you're looking at the first layout here, you can see that the number 4 box is the starting track because it has the little flag there. And you can see the finish line is the 1-5 on the bottom. So if you collected all your fish wherever you are, you would have to race back over here and get to the finish line first to be the first team to cross. And both your penguins have to cross the finish line in order for you to win. So that's basically what it would work like if you're playing the combination of 1 and 2 together. Obviously, there's that racing mode you can play, and if you have the benefit also, if you have both of them, that you can play with up to 5 players, the regular standard mode, which you can only do with one, you can only do that with 4 players if you just have Ice Cold 1 or 2. So that's basically a little bit of an overview of how this game is played with both 1 and 2. So let me actually show you guys here really quickly. This is, like I said, the standard mode setup. So let me show you here what it would look like if I combined both of these together in a racing mode, and show you what that layout would look like when you combine both boxes to one. So you can see how much more expansive these are now that you're using both boxes. I'm using everything but 2, as you can see over there. Everything but 2 of both of these put together, and this is what it would look like. This is like the starting tutorial one that they want you to start with first, and is apparently a good one to play when you're playing with either 5 people for the standard mode, or also the other one. So it's either way. You can play these in the standard mode if you want to go make these expansive boards. There's rules, as you can see here in the rule book. When you open up the page here, you can see that it tells you exactly where to start when it's the runner or the catcher, and you'll see the exact map on where you actually get laid out. So you can play this in either mode, racing mode or whatever. We did the racing mode on this one, and basically this is the finish line right here, and you start with your racers right here. When you play with 2 players, you each get 2, as we said before, and then you just start over there, and you can kind of hop wherever you want, like we talked about before, and then both have to get to the finish line after you grab all your fish. So that's basically what it looks like, and that's basically a little tutorial of how Ice Cool works. The racing mode and the standard mode. So let's go ahead and get to the table now. Let's talk about it, and let me tell you what I think about Ice Cool 1 and 2. Alright guys, so that was Ice Cool and Ice Cool 2, the board game. The other one's sitting right up here. And I'm really glad that I actually got Ice Cool 2. I've had Ice Cool 1 for a long time, and it's a great dexterity game. It's one of our favorite dexterity games to play, though I really still suck at it. And being able to hit those shots and jump, I still can't jump with these penguins for the life of me, even though I tried. I literally sat when I got Ice Cool 2, like, for 40 minutes in a row, and I think I hopped it over, like, 5 times. Like, I have to figure out how to do that better. But regardless, it's still a really fun game to play when you do hit those really good jump shots and you hop over like you're supposed to. It's really like a really special moment in the game because you finally did it and you got where you needed to go. And obviously now with it being Ice Cool 1 and Ice Cool 2, and you can combine both of them and make some really extravagant pieces that you're playing with now, and extravagant boards, really adds a lot to the game. And especially now when you can actually play with a full 8-player count. You can either play 5 players as standard mode that you guys have always known from Ice Cool 1, or now you can play up to 8 players when you actually have... Or you can now play up to 8 players when you're doing the racing mode. And the racing mode is where it's at. I really like the racing mode when you're playing with 8 players. You don't have to play with 8 players. You can still play with 4 and do the racing mode instead. but it really adds some hectic nature to the game, and it's just the fact that you can be in a racing mode and basically go anywhere you want. So one person might be going to the right, one person might be going to the left, one person's going down the middle. It just adds a lot of variety to the game because there's not a straight path to the racing mode. All you have to do is collect all your fishes in the racing mode, and then it's the first person across the finish line, and you're each controlling two. You're either playing by yourself and controlling two different penguins, or you're on a team and each person is controlling one of the other, and you alternate turns. So, and they both have to obviously cross the finish line. So, and with the different boards that they're included in Ice Cold 2, so you can add some racing modes and the standard mode. They give you a bunch of different maps to play with now. So, more than they included in the first one. So, it just makes Ice Cold 1 even better because of that racing mode and because you can obviously play now with 8 players. This is up there now with some of my favorite dexterity games in my collection, like Pitch Car. It's a game that I'm going to bring out a lot, and it's an easy game for anybody to get into, even though it's hard to make those penguins jump. To just be able to play the game and hit these penguins is still easy enough, and when someone makes a crazy shot, everyone goes crazy. So this is a really good game to add to your collection if you're a fan of, if you're a fan of dexterity games and want to play with 4 to 8 players. This is a great game to do that with. You can even play with 2 players if you want to. So this is a really outstanding game, guys. Go ahead and check this one out, Ice Cold 1 and Ice Cold 2. If you guys have any questions about anything you guys have seen here today, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.
Tech, Gaming Techie is the gaming tech. Gaming Techie, gaming tech. Eating brekkie is the gaming tech.